Hello everyone, welcome to another top 3 video. Today I'm going to walk you through the top 3 Deathwatch psychic powers. If you haven't already guys, hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell in the corner so you know each time we release one of these videos. Right, let's get straight into it then. So the top 3 Deathwatch psychic powers. The reason why I wanted to talk about these today is because not many people that I've seen are using the psychic powers of Deathwatch. Not many people have got a librarian in their army. And I was thinking about putting a librarian in my army. So I thought, you know, if I put a librarian in, let's have a look at the psychic powers, see which ones are good, which ones are not. And there are 3 that, for me, they just stand out. Now, it's important to realise all 3 of them are very good. And they're probably on par with each other. There's only one thing that separates where they come on this table. So, you know, I think a lot of people left comments saying they're big fans of, you know, saying why I rank the things the way that I do, that they really enjoy the fact that I say why I rank them. So this is exactly what I mean. All 3 of them are pretty much on par with each other, but there's a difficulty, a level of casting them, and I think that's the only thing that separates them from one another. And we'll go into that as we talk about them. So number 3 on the list, let's go straight in for number 3. Number 3 is Severance. So Severance is cast on a 7, and this is definitely one of my favorite ones, Severance. It's on an enemy character, targets an enemy character within 18 inches of the psyker. That enemy character takes 1 mortal wound, but then also you reduce the range of all auras on that character unit by 3 inches. Now, this is amazing for things like an apothecary, which is absolutely huge in the meta right now. So you come up against a Space Marine army, and they've got an apothecary that's got the 3-inch bubble of 6 up, feel no pain, and you just go, no. That's now 0, because it doesn't say to a minimum of 1 inch. It says just reduce all auras by 3 inches. So the apothecary aura, or any aura which is 3 inches from a character, any character in the game, would go to 0 inches. But then also 6-inch auras become 3-inch auras, and it really throws people off their game. But also, if your roll for the psychic test is higher than the leadership characteristic of that character, then all auras are turned off from that character. Units cannot benefit from an aura coming from that character. And when in the game, it's so massive now that, you know, every Space Marine army can take rights of war, so the warlord can make all core units around him objective secured. That's gone. That won't be able to be used with this. The feel no pain of the apothecary can be turned off by this. There are loads of aura. +1 attack from like Strachan on Guardsman, and the Priest in Sisters of Battle, re-rolling hit rolls of 1 from Canonesses, Captains, and even like Harlequins. Harlequins would suffer quite a lot, because if you turned off their Great Harlequin guy who leads the army, then it takes away their reroll 1s to hit, it takes away their full rerolls to wound. You can stop so many things with this psychic power. That's why it's definitely in the top 3 for me. So the reason why it's 3rd, now you'll see difficulty wise, so it's cast on a 7, it's warp charge value 7, but also it's on an enemy character unit within 18 inches. So you have to get within 18 of an enemy character. That's the only reason this is in at number 3. Number 2. In at number 2, we have Neural Void. So this is also warp charge 7, but this is cast on an enemy unit within 18. So slightly easier than casting it on an enemy character. It'll be an enemy unit, so those will be hopefully a little bit closer to your army. And Neural Void's really good. What it does is it subtracts 1 from the attacks characteristics of models in the unit. So, you know, combat armies, melee armies are a great way for people to deal with Deathwatch, especially when they've got things like a lightning claws for full rerolls to wound. Kind of gets a little bit around the fact that you can transhuman with your Deathwatch squads, and then, you know, like Zephyrim, Repentia from Sisters. It's just all of these great combat units. You know, if you come up against Space Wolves, you want to reduce the damage of Thunderwolf Cavalry with Power Fists and Hammers. So dropping their attacks by 1 is the best way of doing it. So it works against Space Wolves, which are big in the meta right now. Death Guard are pretty close combat-y and are big in the meta right now. Blood Angels, So many army, and sisters are huge. Custodes, this would really hurt Custodes. So there are so many armies out there that rely on getting into Deathwatch to kill them in combat because they can't outshoot them, and then this really helps with that. So it reduces all attacks by 1, but also each time a charge is declared for that unit that you've cast this power on, they can only target the nearest enemy unit with their charge. So this is where the magic comes in. So you take a few units in your Deathwatch that you're not really worried about, or that aren't as important as some of your kill teams maybe, and those units you kind of push them out really close to the unit that you don't want charging into your big stuff, your good stuff. You push this weak unit out in front of them and go, I'll cast this power on you, cast Neural Void on you. Now you can only charge that unit because it's the closest unit to you. So it's hugely manipulative, and it lets you play the mission a lot better and avoid units you don't want to get into combat with. So that's why it's number 2. Number 1 for me is Premorphic Resonance. Now the reason why it's number 1 is A, it's cast on a 6. So it's one less warp charge to cast than the other 2, so that makes it slightly easier anyway. But then the other thing is it's on a friendly Deathwatch unit within 18 inches. So you don't have to get to an enemy character, you don't have to get to an enemy unit, it's just one of your own units. So that's why it's in at number 1 for me, because all of them, like I say, all of them are great psychic powers, but this one doesn't rely you to be anywhere near the enemy. You cast it on one of your units, and it has the lowest warp charge out of the 3 powers. So what this lets you do is Overwatch attacks for the unit score hits on the roll of a 5+. So Overwatching on a 5+, when you've got kill teams with, you know, so many shots, you can have a Terminator squad with 40 shots. You can have kill teams full of Outriders and Intercessors, which will get like 35, 40 shots as well. So you can pump out a hell of a lot of shots, and you can have great AP. You can reroll monster wound against a certain force organization slot. So, you know, having that ability to be able to Overwatch on a 5+, and you can get rerolls from a Chapter Master, is very strong in itself. But then also, the unit can fight first in the fight phase if it's within the engagement range of anybody. That's a really cool tool to have. And another important one is you add 1 to hit rolls for melee attacks made by the unit. So like the perfect target for this unit would be, if you're watching our battle reports, one of my favorite units in the Deathwatch army that we're using at the moment is a unit of 10 Terminators or 9 Terminators, and they all have Storm Bolters and Chain Fists. Now Chain Fists make you -1 to hit, but if you cast this power on them, it counteracts with that and they still hit on 3s, rerolling 1s next to a captain, which is very effective, especially if they're going into vehicles. They're flat 3 damage. The +1 to hit really helps them. But then also, they've got 40 Stormbolter shots, which will be really good for that Overwatch. So they're the perfect unit to do it on, because they've got good shooting and really, really decent combat. So if you find units like that, this power becomes incredible, and it really helps you out of tough spots. So those are my favorite 3 Deathwatch Warlord traits. Those are the top ones for me. Warlord traits. Psychic powers. Favorite 3 Deathwatch psychic powers. And if you have any that are working really well for you, please leave them in the comments below for everybody to share and grow. And until the next video, guys, see you later.